Welcome to The Explainer. So glad you're here, because today we're tackling something literally every language learner dreams of. We are talking about leveling up your conversational English from basic survival mode to rich, nuanced expression. You see, it's one thing to be able to order a coffee or give basic directions. That's survival. But it's an entirely different ballgame to be able to express your personality, your opinions on complex societal issues, and your unique sense of humor in a second language. Today, we're looking at some fascinating feedback notes from real advanced English tutoring sessions to see exactly how that transformation happens.
Here's our roadmap for today. We're going to start with mastering natural small talk, move into hobbies and mental health, tackle the smartphone dilemma, discuss hobbies in the workplace, and finally wrap up with some tricky vocabulary and pronunciation traps.
Okay, let's dive right into this with Section 1, Mastering Natural Small Talk and Elevating the Basics.
You know that feeling when you're actively translating in your head? Look at this original sentence from a student. The weather April is almost over, and today it was so chilly, like a 12 degrees, so I wore the long-sleeve shirt again. You can kind of hear the gears turning, right? It's a bit of a run-on sentence, directly translated from a native thought process. Now check out the feedback version. April is almost over, but it was still chilly today, around 12 degrees, so I wore a long-sleeve shirt again. It naturally breaks the thought into two distinct sentences. It flows, and it combines thoughts about the weather without sounding like a robotic translation. This is exactly how you sound relaxed and in control.
Now, this next one perfectly illustrates how just one native-sounding idiom can completely transform your conversational vibe. The original attempt was just, today is between holidays. Gets the point across, sure, but look at the feedback. Today is a sandwich day between holidays. I mean, how brilliant is that? Using sandwich day to describe that awkward workday stuck between 2 days off instantly makes you sound more relatable, more native, and honestly just a lot more fun to talk to.
Moving right along to Section 2, Hobbies and Mental Health and Structuring Deep Answers.
So when you get hit with a high-level question like what kinds of hobbies are most beneficial for mental health, you really can't just wing it. The tutor's notes actually reveal this amazing rule of 3 communication technique. Step 1, give a short, direct answer. Boom. Step 2, add specific examples. Don't just vaguely say simple hobbies. Say reading, walking, or speaking clubs. And step 3, close with a balanced conclusion. This structure literally stops you from rambling and guarantees you sound incredibly articulate.
That third step, the balanced conclusion, is absolutely crucial. Look at this quote from the source material. The best hobby is different for each person. By closing with a nuanced viewpoint like this, you completely elevate your answer. You step away from a simple this is good, that is bad argument into a mature, balanced opinion based on personality types. Like maybe noting that outgoing people might need social hobbies while introverted people might need quiet time. That right there is true expression.
Next up, Section 3, the smartphone hobby dilemma, navigating modern topics.
All right, I want to throw this deep dive question out to you right now just to reset your attention. Is using a smartphone also a form of hobby these days? It's such a fantastic question from the tutor because it really forces the student to defend a modern reality in real time.
When tackling that, the student originally answered, I think the scrolling smartphone is our mental hobby. And hey, we know what they mean, right? It's a mental break, but it's just a bit awkward. The feedback gives us this massive vocabulary upgrade. Scrolling on a smartphone is more like a passive hobby. Passive hobby. That is just so precise and natural. It perfectly captures the difference between actively painting a picture and, passively watching short videos to relax.
What's really fascinating about this part of the conversation is the incredible self-awareness it shows. The student essentially argued that yes, a smartphone can be a hobby, but they followed it up with this exact statement. When someone asks me, what is your hobby? It is not easy to say my hobby is scrolling on my smartphone. The tutor absolutely praised this. Why? Because it proves they understand social context. It shows the speaker knows what society expects a hobby to be. Expressing that kind of irony in English shows a massive level of fluency.
Let's escalate things to Section 4, Hobbies in the Workplace, discussing culture and balance.
Here, the tutor drops a seriously thought-provoking question. Should schools and workplaces encourage hobbies? This is definitely not a simple yes or no. It perfectly sets the student up to deliver some excellent, nuanced arguments about organizational culture and modern working life.
And man, the student delivered. Breaking down the complex ideas they explored, we see this highly sophisticated, multi-layered argument. First off, they pointed out the post-pandemic focus on personal lives. People just value their own time way more now. Second, they floated this hypothetical 7 hours of work plus 1 hour of hobby schedule, but concluded it sounds ideal yet is totally unrealistic for most CEOs. And finally, they hit on a generational shift. Younger workers in their 20s actively dislike forced company gatherings. Putting all that together creates a super compelling argument.
But here's the catch. When you're making advanced arguments like this, precision is everything. The original phrasing was, "We don't need to press the hobby time." The feedback corrects this to, "We should not force people to spend time on hobbies." That highlights a really crucial vocabulary distinction. A company can encourage a hobby, but they should never force one. Getting words like encourage versus force right is the difference between nailing your point and totally confusing your listener.
Bringing us to our final section, vocabulary and pronunciation traps and avoiding conversation crashers.
Notice how, as the students started speaking faster, these similar-sounding words kept getting tangled up. Hobby, habit, hobbit, harvest. Just imagine you're deep in a serious chat about free time and you accidentally drop, "Technology-based harvests can be fun." Suddenly, the person you're talking to thinks you're a farmer. Or, even worse, mixing up hobby and hobbit and accidentally turning a mental health chat into a Lord of the Rings discussion.
I promise I am not making this up. Here is a real-world example straight from the source notes. The spoken sentence was, "Creative hobbits can make people think in various ways." Now, I'm sure Bilbo and Frodo are very inspiring, but the correct sentence is, "Creative hobbies can make people think in various ways." This illustrates exactly why mastering that clean, soft ah sound in hobby matters. You really don't want to accidentally invite wizards into your corporate small talk.
Here's another classic trap, the R versus L pronunciation battle. The tutor flagged confusion between writing and lighting, and rights versus lights. For example, when you're talking about Labor Day, you want to discuss workers' rights, as in their welfare and legal protections. If you mispronounce the R as an L, you are suddenly talking about workers' lights. Unless you're discussing electricians, that's going to cause a whole lot of confusion.
And wrapping up the grammar side, we've got a couple essential preposition fixes. They might seem tiny, but getting them right instantly makes your sentences sound polished and native. Remember, it's addicted to games, not addicted game. And you spend time on your smartphone, not take time in your smartphone. Nailing those prepositions is like putting the final coat of wax on a freshly detailed car. It just shines.
So, stepping back and looking at everything the tutor emphasized across these sessions, we can boil down the ultimate strategy for you right here. Shorten your sentences so you don't get tangled up. Add specific, concrete examples to back up your points, and close with a balanced conclusion that proves you understand the nuance of the topic. That right there is your blueprint for advanced English.
Which leaves us with one final, pretty provocative question to ask yourself today. Are your English conversations just surviving, or are they expressing who you truly are? Are you just getting through the interaction, or are you actually sharing your humor, your complex thoughts, and your real personality? By structuring your answers, upgrading your vocabulary, and, watching out for those sneaky hobbits, you can absolutely bridge that gap. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. Keep practicing, keep expressing yourself, and I'll catch you next time.